Thanks for joining our webinar today, where we're going to be giving you a product overview of ProjectSight. My name is Matt Trimble. I am a regional manager here on the ProjectSight team, and I'll be acting as your moderator for today. Along with me is Jane Selzinko. She is one of our solution engineers, and she will be the main driver of today's presentation. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Throughout the webinar, we do invite you to engage with us by asking some questions. You can use the question box that can be found on the GoToWebinar control panel. We should have some time between each section to address your questions as they come in. But for the sake of time, if there's some questions we can't get to, we'll make sure to follow up with you individually afterwards to make sure everybody gets answers that they need. And also, the session today will be recorded, so we'll be sending out a link that you guys can view the copy on demand. One other thing is, throughout the presentation today, there will be a couple poll questions that I'll be flashing up. Do encourage you to engage and participate with us, and I'll be sharing the results of those poll questions before we go into the next section. So here's, if you want to flip to the next screen, here's kind of a high level of what we're going to be covering today. Jane's going to go through some of the navigational features and outline of the ProjectSight platform. So she'll be touching through that on the home page. Then we're going to jump into drawings, and then document control and field management before wrapping up with budget and cost. So we're going to cover a lot today, and it's going to be at a pretty high level, but hopefully there'll be a lot of good information for you guys. Hopefully you can ask some questions. And with that, Jane, I'll go ahead and kick it over to you to go ahead and get us started.
All right, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you very much. And I'm gonna go ahead and start presenting my screen. All right, so before we start, well, first of all, thank you so much for your interest in ProjectSight. And I hope that today's presentation, with your questions and the poll answers that you guys are providing for us, that we're going to be able to show you what ProjectSight can do to unify your daily processes and give you that one-stop solution for all of your project needs. So hopefully we'll be able to demonstrate how you can manage projects from start to finish with a single source of collaborative environment that will provide everyone with the right information at the right time. I do want you to leave this webinar with a good presentation of that ProjectSight. Could potentially improve your efficiency. It could standardize a lot of your processes, including the configuration and the ease of the use of the system, as well as very intuitive way of how ProjectSight has been built. I want you to pay attention that as I go through one screen to another, that you're probably going to get bored in about 15 minutes and say, yes, she's probably showing me and I already know how to navigate ProjectSight on my own. So I just wanted to let you know to keep in mind of those things and to have in mind of what you guys want to leave after this webinar. And with that being said, let's get started and talk about what we're seeing on a screen now. So you will be seeing one interesting thing is that I'm logged in currently as Jack Clifton. He's my main persona when demoing. That's not what usually I look like, maybe on my bad days. But Jack is our project manager, and he is currently viewing portfolios. So the way ProjectSight is completed is you create different portfolios, whether maybe you are, doing construction projects in a specific region, or you would like to organize your projects by different type of projects, right? So you have the ability to organize them in the manner you see fit. So I'm going to navigate into this portfolio. It's called Commercial Division. And once again, when I click on that, Jack will be seeing a list of projects that he either had a ability to create on his own, or B, he was just simply invited to participate on those projects. And the way that's determined is we have an ability for you guys, and I'm going to just quickly navigate into a different tab just to show you that ProjectSight has this area where you can create different types of security roles. And what that gives you an ability to configure different types of users that you will have in your system, right? You might have internal users, you might have external users, such as your subcontractors, or maybe even an owner that you would like to give very, very limited view of ProjectSight. So through these different type of security rules that you have total control of creating, you can get to a very, very granular level of permissions, all the way down to what type of field can someone either view, read only, they can write in the field, or you can completely remove that specific field from being available on somebody's screen. So you have total control of how you create and administer the security rules to your project. So I kind of wanted to cover that to make sure that you do understand that you are the owner of the system, right? And you have total control of who has access to your system, all the way down to the field level of any specific record. So now that we've covered the permissions and why Jack is seeing so many projects, we'll take a look at some of the things that you're probably going to be seeing a lot throughout this presentation. Number one is this little search field, a search panel. And what that gives me is that gives me the ability to kind of filter down for specific information that I would like to see on the screen, right? So whether it's a status of the project or a record, or if there's any other specific attribute that I would like to see the information at, I can filter. I can also come in here and group and sort, right, by specific items. So for example, if my projects, I want to have them grouped by, let's say, a state, then here we go. I can come in here and look at my states. And if I want to also apply a status of a project, that I can come in here and view all my projects currently in construction. So that kind of gives you the ability to narrow down to that specific information that you're looking for, and also ability to save this. So once I filter down and narrow down for that specific information, I can come in here and create this view, right? So I'm just going to call it, today's date, right? So project view, right? So this is gives you the ability to give you that specific view. So next time you log into the system, you don't have to search for these projects again. You can just simply either select one of your view drop downs, or it's going to remember your last view. So this is very consistent throughout ProjectSight. You're going to be seeing this a lot, as well as also the ability to view something in a list or a tile view, right? So you can go between list and tile view of information. And we'll go over that again when we look at some other records. So now I'm going to go ahead and dive into a project that's called University Student Union Wellness Center. And we're actually going to get down to the probably what you guys are most interested in, right? Is how I get the drawings in, how I work my RFIs, and how my subs are going to be dealing with daily reports. All right. So I just clicked on the project, and what I'm currently seeing is what we call the project's main homepage. So there's a few items here, but I kind of wanted to maybe dissect your eyesight into 3 different sections, right? So we're going to dissect this into 3. What do you currently see in the middle? What do we have to the right, and what do we have to the left? So in the middle here, I have all these different dashboard widgets. That is a great representative of where my project is currently standing with all of the records that are being inputted, right? My drawings, my RFIs, my overdue items. All of these records on these dashboards are interactive. So if any point I would like to see, for example, how many punch items I have here, I can just click anywhere on this little pie chart, and I'll be given a list of all the punch items that I have within this project. And all of these are hyperlinked, so at any point you can click on that and get to the record very, very quickly. Number 2 on the screen is your right-hand side, right? These are my assignments. So when you log into ProjectSight for the day, you come there, in the morning, you open up your iPad, or you open your web browser, right? You kind of want to know where you stand, what items that you need to take care of. You might want to just like have, aside from email notifications, you want to get into the system instead of digging around. You want to see what needs your attention, right? So this right here, this little side panel gives you ability to, it's everything is broken down by module. So you can see, for example, there's drawing and specifications, there's some budget and cost management. So all of these records have the amount of days, right? So something is overdue, that's going to be in red, or in green, you have how many days you have remaining on that record. And once again, you can just simply click on that, expand in different window, and then start working on that record. On the left-hand side, this is the third, right, that sectional that we talked about, is all of the modules that ProjectSight consists of. So we're going to be digging a little bit in every single one of them. We'll start with our drawing and specifications. Then we'll also take a look at budget, contracts and change management. Then we also have document control, right? This is your communication between field and office. And we'll take a look at a few records here, such as RFIs and submittal packages. In the field management, right? So this is probably where the guys in the field will spend most of their time at, and we'll take a look at daily reports, punch items, and checklist. Also, we have file libraries, so all of your projects files, right? So those are going to be also nested in here. So they're anytime you upload a file within, for example, an RFI, all of those files are going to be they're attached there automatically, right? But also gives you ability to come in there and create your own folder structure, give that folder structure permission-based folders. So there's a lot of things that you can do here with the file library as well. And then we also have models, right? So models, that's your connect view and integration into the world of 3D, as well as other project information that you can think of. So Trimble Connect does come with ProjectSight, and you can think of that, the Trimble Connect, as the that single backbone of all of your project needs in regards to BIM, right? So all the 3D modeling, the ability to present data in design context, right? So storing all that data structure, and as well as providing you with that open collaboration tool without purchasing any additional licensing. And we'll take a look at that when we'll take a look at a drawing and see how seamlessly you can attach different 3D model views into anywhere in ProjectSight. All right, and with that, we are going to go ahead and start looking at our drawings and see how we can get those into the system.
Hey Jane, just a couple questions that have come in that we should probably address, and I think you hit on one of these already. But one was, can I change the dashboard to represent data that I'm most interested in?
Yes, thank you so much for asking that. So each individual user will be able to not only come in here into this this dashboard control and simply just dragging items that they want on their own dashboards, but as you're working through different records on ProjectSight, I will show you also how you can create your own dashboard widgets so they become available here for you to simply drag and drop and organize your own individual dashboard information.
Great. And then one other question, am I able to set up a limited view for my subcontractors?
Matt, thank whoever asked that question, thank you so much, because I actually have to, I go through this a lot during my demonstrations, and yes, you are able to do so. I'm just going to quickly also show you. I have actually an example here. So I have an example here that Bob Joyner here, he is a subcontractor, and I actually only want him to access a few things in regards to contracts and change orders when I send things off for estimates. So as you can see here, right over here in the background, I have Jack, who has information and access to all the modules. And here's a representation of a sub who can also have access to very limited information. So thank you for that question. I think that's very important to know, that you guys have complete control of who accesses your system, what they're seeing, all right, and the ability to control that very easily with security roles.
Great, thanks, Jane.
Yes, thank you very much. So thank you. I think that was a longer introduction than I typically have, but I think it's important because I do want to empower you from the very start, and letting you know the ProjectSight is configurable, intuitive, and it is completely in your hands of how you want to configure your system, and you don't need anyone's help. It's very easy to change something in ProjectSight. All right, so with that being, we are going to go ahead and dive into the drawings. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in here, and because we're on a little, we have to be respectful towards your time. I'm going to go ahead and show you how we get the drawing sets, but I'm not going to have to publish it because we're going to have to move on to the drawings because I want to show you everything. All right, guys. So drawing sets. So the drawing sets is an area where we initially come in and upload a set of drawings, right? Whether it is a specific set of drawings, maybe it's a a construction set, 50%, 75, and so on. And whenever you see this little plus sign, this indicates that we're creating something new. And when we do that, we have the ability to just come in here and choose some of the files, or we can just drag and drop. So this is an area where I'm going to be looking for those files, right? And I'm going to be uploading them. And this is a very easy task. We just drop them, and we basically turn on the OCR, optical character recognition. We highlight a few fields, and then we can drag and drop 200-300 files, right? And ProjectSight will seamlessly in the back create everything for you. And after we upload the initial set, it is going to look something like this. It's going to basically dissect all of the files that you have entered, whether it's individual files or one page with multiple pages, right, that represent each drawing. It is going to organize this in this manner, and then you'll be able to come in here and make sure everything is done correctly, right, that OCR picked up everything from the revision to revision date, drawing title, right. It gives you also the ability to tag, right? So if you have any custom tags that you would like to assign, right? So this gives you ability to select those. And then also as an approver, right, of the drawing set, I can come in here and set a status. So everything that is approved will be published for the rest of the organizations to start marking up your drawing. But if maybe there's a few drawings that you need to hold back because maybe you need an additional approval from a design team or your architect, then I can set a drawing to pending, for example, and then when I click publish, those will be held back, and then you can come back and publish those specific ones at a later time. So basically the idea of the drawing set is that you upload it, right? You potentially assign this to someone to review, you come in here and make your comments, and then you publish this out for the rest of the team to start the collaboration. All right, so that's how we get our drawings into the system. And then when we are ready to start getting in the field and we are ready to start marking the drawings with an RFI, punches, right? We need to maybe measure some items. We are going to get into, I'm going to go back one level back, and we're going to get into the area that's called drawings. So I'm going to click on that. All right, and now what we're going to be seeing is we're going to be seeing a list of all the drawings, and I have them, as you can see here, I have it filtered down for the most current set. So whenever, your guys in the field, whoever's in the field, your superintendent, right, anyone that's working with drawings, that rest assured that you can always make sure that they're working in the current set, because that's an option that we have here. So I'm going to navigate into this drawing called 8201. And once that loads, first things to note is that you're going to see that we are in this drawing, and the way we know that is the most recent drawing, right? This right there on top, it is actually going to show you that it's the current version. And if we at any point would like to see what was there before, we can come in here and click on this little eye icon, and I can come in here and select the version that I'm interested to look at. So there are previous revisions as well, and I can come in here and look at them, and they will be marked with red that says not current version, or there's also a way for you to stamp and say superseded. All right, if I ever want to compare this version to any other version of this drawing or even a different discipline, I can do so right here. I can select this another drawing, and it's going to layer everything for me, and then I will see all the changes that are being made on this drawing. All right. Also, in addition to that, we have what you're going to be seeing a lot is one of the most items that people are using is the ability to link. All right, so I'm going to show you how to mark this drawing right now, but I also want you to note that I'm going to be working with this drawing a lot, right, throughout the project's life cycle, and there's probably going to be like a lot of RFIs and punch and checklists and photographs that are attached. But I can always come in here and look at this as one big unified unit, because everything is interlinked in ProjectSight. So just because I'm on a drawing, I can also see what has been attached. So there's 4 files, 30 records, such as RFI, action item, checklist, as well as different designs, right? So these are all the different call outs that we're seeing on the drawing. To mark up this drawing, we have a tool here on the left-hand side that gives you ability to draw, right? There's multiple ways of drawing something, highlighting, putting an arrow on it. There's also different types of clouds that you can make, different type of shapes. We also have a quick link. The quick link gives you ability to like most used record types that you can see, such as RFIs, issues, punch list, attachment to the 3D model, and so forth. So I can come in here and click on the RFI and simply just highlight an area that I would like to request information for. And then that's going to give you an ability to link an existing RFI or create a brand new one. And when you click create brand new one, you get that quick window on the right-hand side. And that gives you ability to start your brand new RFI record, right? And still stay within the same area on the drawing and still be able to look at the drawing, right, without leaving that area. And the thing is, I also I'm going from the drawing to an RFI, right? And what if I want to add additional items to an RFI or do additional attachments? So you also have this link right here. So now I can come in here and upload a file or upload a different type of record, and then everything will be interconnected, right? So if I'm linking an action item to my RFI, then I'll be able to track everything down. Like, how did this action item happen? Where did it came from? It came from an RFI, and RFI has a drawing. So everything is all together, and you always know what came together. So that's just a quick overlook of our drawings. It has a lot more other features that we just simply don't have the time to go over. But this was just the main gist of this drawing, is the ability to easily mark up using our tools, the ability to compare, and as well as the ability to link everything together within ProjectSight. And one thing I'm going to mention also as well is that when I'm viewing a record that's already been attached here, for example, this issue right here, I have the issue that had an issue with stairway size. And if I open this up, right, I'm going to see a lot of collaboration here on this issue. So I have all the project managers and superintendents working on this issue. And if I scroll all the way down, I see all of the attachments, all of the different records, including even a potential change order, because this was identified as a cost impact. And if I scroll all the way down, I also see this little colorful attachment. And this attachment right here is a link to a Trimble Connect. So that I was talking about, a seamless connection to Trimble Connect that opens up an exact view on the BIM model to where the markup on the BIM model was made. So this is a very zoomed in view right here of the Trimble Connect, but if I zoom out right here, you'll see that this is an actual 3D model right here of a building. And then I was able to make all the necessary markups here and then create a special view that's going to be able to be available for attachment anywhere in ProjectSight, not just drawings, but everywhere else. And just a reminder that Trimble Connect, right? So this is your seamless interaction right between ProjectSight and Trimble Connect is your world into the 3D modeling where you can have multiple types of 3D models in there that gives you ability to interact with these models, right? And make all kinds of markups that you can potentially need, right? To interact with this model. There's everything from, you know, attaching issues, there's measurements, there's doing a single point, there's way of clipping, right? And clipping the model to kind of see what's going on in the middle. When you're working with the models and you are looking at specific objects, right, you have the ability to come in here and look at the informational panel. So that gives you all the properties that came from the native file. So you can look at all of the items here, all the metadata. And then you can come in here and put that into our data table and look at all of the different objects, and then you can also organize them, right? So you can create different groups to organize that. Aside from that, Trimble Connect also gives you ability to do status sharing, clash detections, and also a list of to-dos. So you can interact with the model and also create different to-dos, aka action items, which can then be easily reported on and exported as needed. All right.
Hey Jane, so one quick comment and then one question. I'm glad you showed Trimble Connect. So I just wanted to point out that with a subscription to ProjectSight, you get a full enterprise subscription and access to Trimble Connect as well. So I wanted to point that out. And then the question came in when we were going back to drawings. What happens to the previous version after I upload a new one?
Right. So basically, whenever we upload a new version, right? So the other previous version becomes a previous version, and it now resides, you know, in the list of previous versions you can easily access, and your most recent becomes your current version.
Great. All right. Before we head to the next section, which is our field management, I'm going to go ahead and pop up our first poll question, and it is related to what we just went over there with models. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that. So the question is, do you currently use models in the field on your projects? Yes, no, or no, but I want to. So I'll give everybody a few seconds here to go ahead and plug in some answers, and I'll share the results with you. All right, just 2 more seconds here. And I'm going to go ahead and close out the poll. So it looks like it's a pretty even split between all three. I will say between you know, probably the last year or so, I've definitely seen an uptick and people asking about, and you know, our customers and our people that we're dealing with are definitely more curious more now than ever, I think, about using models in the field and actually in the construction phase. So thanks everybody for participating. And Jane, if you want to go on to doc control, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you can still see my screen. think
Yep, we're with you.
okay, great. So yeah, so we'll take a look at document control and we navigate into RFIs, and then we'll take a quick look at submittals before we head to field management. So with RFIs, just wanted to point out a few things here. So you saw how we easily, were able to attach an RFI and identify an RFI on the drawing and then really quickly create it. Just wanted to show you how quickly you can also look at every single RFI in the system. So anytime you navigate into a record, you'll see a log of all the records. So this is a log of all my RFIs. And if you remember, I can easily come in here and either filter for specific RFIs, or I can come in here and look at, for example, all of my open log. And then if I need a printout of all of my RFI logs, right, you can come in here and get a nice printout of all of the RFIs that are currently on the screen, right? So you filter down and then you can easily print them. ProjectSight comes with over 400 reports out of the box, so you can easily view, download, or email straight out of the system, right? Or just print it out and take it to your meeting if need be. So very easily to come in here and do any kind of type of report, right? Any format, as well as you can do not just the project you're on, but you can also do cross project reporting, right? So if you're working, if you need a meeting that includes all of the projects and all RFIs on the projects, you can do that as well here. All right, and now let's take a look at one of the RFIs here that I have. So I'm going to open this up. So once again, if you are looking at RFI very quickly from here, you can come in here and simply just click on that, and it's going to give you a quick click on the right hand side. But if you want to expand this RFI, then it's going to give you more details. And typically it's very simple. You're gonna notice that every other record pretty much looks the same. On the right hand side, you see all the high level information about that record, such as the numbering and the workflow, with a drop down of exactly like what status this RFI is at. Note that this status right here is configurable, so this is just a sample of what it could be. And then upon assignment of this RFI, it can be automatically assigned to someone, even based on the discipline with RFI. So if someone needs to be on this RFI because it's mechanical, then you have these two people that are here. All right, in the middle here, in the comments area, this is where all the collaboration is happening, right? So one system, many people that have access to this RFI based on the project or even company level permissions can come in here and start collaboration. They can start attachments of different records, and they can have back and forth conversation. And then you can decide and come in here which one of those answers can also be logged in as a response. All right, so you can vote for a response to be promoted and be logged in as official answer. With RFIs and issues and other records, you can also identify an impact. So if there's a cost impact, you can come in here and start a potential change order straight from this RFI. Additional info, that's a tab that gives you ability to create different custom fields if we haven't captured something earlier. And the history tab, this will also give you a full transparency of what has been edited, modified, or deleted within this record. Individually, if you want to print out the specific record of RFI, there's also this print button that will always follow along. All right, and then one more thing I wanted to show you in document control is our submittals. So we do have submittal packages and submittals, but pretty much everything starts with you creating individual submittals, whether you are in the submittal screen or submittal packages. So this is going to be a log of all submittals inside the system, and the submittal packages allow you to come in here and group them together, right? And then create that one submittal package they can send off for approval, and so that one individual company or user can get one notifications in a package to deal. The way submittals work, so I can come in here once again, and I can come in here and look for maybe my pending submittals, where it will give me a list. I currently have it grouped by subcontractor, so I can come in here and get very granular with what information I would like to see. If you're just getting those submittals inside ProjectSight, you'll probably see 99% of the time you will see this little up and down arrow, and that indicates easy import export. ProjectSight will give you an ability to easily import export with our template, and the template is very error proof. It will definitely guide you of where the required fields are, what you've missed so far, and there's a lot of drop downs to eliminate human error. If we're looking at a submittal, for example, that I have here, and we're also looking at what other fields that are important for us to look at during the submittal. We do have all of the informational items here, such as the status as well here, as well as any revisions that happen on these submittals, including the spec section that it's associated with and the type. It is also assigned to individuals, right? Whether it's automatic upon the creation of the record or you assign it to somebody. So this is all captured here, as well as the comments, but just like an RFI, I told you this is going to be very, very intuitive and consistent throughout records. That we're going to have all this collaborative information here in the comments, where you can also come in here and upload your documents, where you can utilize our redlining tools to come in here and mark up your submittal documents, all right, and make any comments, highlighting or maybe attaching some of your stamps here. And then with submittals, you also have an ability to track. So these are some of the dates you can input, and then you can calculate your lead times and calculate that due date of where that material needs to be delivered on site. All right. Also additional info, right, if there's some dates that we haven't captured earlier, as well as the history. So very, very consistent, right? So how we enter information, where we look for information, the consistency of assigning the printing of the logs and the linking of all different other records. That's going to be very similar in every single record. Before I move to field management, do we have any questions on document control?
Yeah, just one question, and you may have covered this and I missed it because I was looking at another question that I need to answer. But going back on reports, did you touch on how you can create reports, some of the reporting options?
Yes, so each report option, right, it does come in a specific record. But if you're reporting on all of the items, then if you are at the submittal log, for example, where you see everything, there's going to be this little print button where you do have an option to click on the drop down, select one of the reports, and then be able to view, download, or email straight out the system.
Great. And then one other question came up as we were wrapping up our discussion on Trimble Connect. It was a question around what type of files are supported in Trimble Connect. I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat a link that shows all the 2D and 3D file types that are supported. So anything from IFC files to Navisworks, Revit, and more, Tekla. So I'll go ahead and put that in the chat here at before the end of this session, so everybody has access to that. So with that, we can go ahead and head over to field management.
All right, very cool, very cool. Thank you, guys. So field management, we'll just take a look at a few things. So let's take a look at a daily report, because I know that's something that probably most of you will have to deal at one point or the other, whether you're entering yourself or you're reviewing them, right? So daily reports, I'm gonna go ahead and click for ready for review. I have this one report that I haven't approved yet. So it's from April, and I come in here and you'll see 4 different sections. So I have weather, labor, equipment, and notes. So with ProjectSight, so weather can be either manually or automatically entered. So you can come in here and manually enter it, or automatically you can set it up in the settings where it's going to just look at your zip code and automatically put in the weather. In our labor here, just as a reminder, I'm logged in as Jack, so I see all of the labor that came in from the subs. And we have 3 different types of labor, so you can do just for the company and crew, or all the way down to the crew members. So as you can see here, I have a Blossom Construction Corporation, but I also have their crew 1, and here it lists all the workers that have completed work for that day with their classification, trade, and hours. Okay, so you can come in here and approve these daily reports one by one. And if you're inputting it for someone, also you have an ability to create a daily report that will serve as a template, perhaps, or if you're doing work on a weekly basis that is very similar, you have the ability to copy labor, right? So you don't have to input all these companies. For equipment, you can come in here and also select drop downs for equipment that was used on site and specify quantity and hours that were utilized. In the notes section, so this is how we would attach the daily photos, right, and all the potential other records. Maybe there's a checklist. So if I'm going to open this up, I have a checklist that was attached to this daily report, and the checklist in ProjectSight is a very unique area where you can basically recreate your paper forms and basically how you do business into these checklists, right? So these are basically organized in by different sections. And each sections will give you different types of field that you can come here, and you can come in here and identify something as pass, attention required, an A, or even assign this individual line items to a person. So it comes in handy when you have to create different checklists, maybe for COVID-19 surveys or safety checklist inspections, right, and have the ability to also attach them back into a daily report or any in that matter any record in ProjectSight. So that's the daily report. And then I think one thing that we have to go over in the field management is the punch list. And you'll see how it is pretty much the same layout, the same thing like I promised you. It is going to be very similar feel with the punch items as well. So here's a log. We always start off with a log that you can easily filter for or look for a specific view, right? I can come in here and import, export my punch items. There's the print button. And if I'm looking at a punch that already exists here, I can come in here and do a quick view, or if I expand on this item, then I can come in here and look with something that happened in particular, right? So I can come in here and quickly look at this is a punch item that's in an open status, right? It was created on May 10th. Here's the due date. It was assigned to Bob Joyner. It's overdue, right, by 3 days. So I can come in here and put my comment, you know, hey, Bob, when this is going to be done, and all of my collaboration is going to be noted here. So very easily, you know, the collaboration is here, the ability to attach, once again, any supporting documentation and a different record. So that the consistency is there between all the records that we've seen so far.
Great. So Jane, I'm gonna post or publish the last poll question here before we jump into budget and costs. And I know we're kind of right up on time. And again, if you need to jump off, we do appreciate you joining. But if you're able to stick on, we'll cover the rest. Otherwise, recording will be sent out for everybody. So before we go into budget and cost, I'm gonna go ahead and launch this poll question. Which ERP or accounting solution does your project management solution integrate with? So a couple different options there. I'll just give this a few seconds and we will wrap up with budget and cost. All right, looks like a good percent have already voted. And I would say, let me close this out. So the large majority are either other or none. So again, thanks for participating. And I would say just from, you know, real quick, I would say it's an area more and more that our customers are definitely looking into and looking to explore. As a note, when we went out and developed ProjectSight, we did develop it with an open API. So really the possibilities of integrations and potential integrations are endless. So, and I'd say ERP, integrating the project management solution with ERP is definitely has a big value proposition as far as being able to keep the finance team and the accounting and software where they're comfortable, and keeping the field operations folks and the PM software where they're comfortable, but having that data flow back and forth so everyone has visibility and can get your job done has been what I've seen as a big benefit. So with that said, Jane, let's go ahead and wrap up with a quick overview on budget and cost.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. It's probably one of the most interesting areas, right, of ProjectSight. So let's talk about a little bit of budget and commitment, right? So the BCM module, what we call it is, right, it contains a lot of there's 3 sections. There's a lot of records, but there's 3 sections, right? And that gives you ability, to track all your project cost. And the 3 sections are budget and commitments. So initially you would create your budget, and then you would write up your contracts, right, or your subcontracts, your identify and enter your prime contract, and then you would also have ability to create purchase orders. Then the second option here is to do change management, right? So you have everything from a potential change order that can potentially track changes that might result in extra work or additional cost. And then all the way down to prime contract change, right? That gives you ability to track what has been done to the prime contract and send it over to owner for approval. Your subcontractors to track all the change orders that have been only identified for your sub. So these are all optional. And then we have change order requests that gives you ability to put 1 or more potential change orders, right? Group them together and send it on for approval. And hopefully that gets done, and that's gonna be much quicker for your project. And the payments, we have everything from contract invoices, right? So everything that you record or receive from subcontractors, right, to determine the value of progress payments to them. General expenses, so to track non-contract invoices, and of course your application for payments that give you a summary of all your completed work for each pay period, and track everything. And in applications for payments, you can also add all of your sub invoices as well as change orders. And you also have the ability to create the G702 and G703 forms. With that being said, I'm just going to quickly show you our budget summary screen, just to kind of show you what that looks like and what you're able to track here. So the budget screen is quite large, but just to summarize things, this is basically all of the budget cost codes that you have on your project. And the main things here is basically like to keep you going and to make sure that you're on track is this top bar right here. This is the summary bar that displays the information of basically of where you started and where you might potentially end up with. And if you're over or under, right? So this is your kind of like this indicator right here of your live progress within your project in regards to cost. The budget code items here are listed here. They can easily be imported or added to the system. And each individual line item here has also a layer underneath it that we call transactional history. And each individual cost code has its own transactional history associated with a different type of records, whether it is a budget transfer, whether it is a general expense or a potential change order against a cost code. Everything is completely covered, right? So in purple here, we have everything unrelated to budget, right? So where we started in our original budget all the way down to current and projected, right, of where we might end up if all the changes are completed. And then as we move, we get into commitments, right? So all the commitments of where we started, where we currently at, and where we might end up with our commitments. And as we progress and there's billings against the project, we get into the actual cost in green right here. And that also gives you a representation of what you have currently cost to date and what percentage you have completed and how much you have left to complete. So that's individual budget transactional history. And in the same manner, you have an overall picture here for each individual budget code, right? So original budget, approximate projected budget, and then we move over to commitments, and then we move over to actuals, right? So these are all refreshed, and you're not necessarily interacting with these items. So as you're interacting with different records within ProjectSight, right, potential change orders, contracts, invoices, this screen gets refreshed, right, and gives you the most accurate present information in regards to your cost on your project. So this is like a 10-foot view, like they call it, in regards to financials that you can have on the project. But there's of course a lot more to this that we can cover in individual demos.
Yep.
Matt, do we have any questions for budget?
Yeah, well, not necessarily for budget, but just I'll just wrap up with some general questions, and I could tell we have a few here, so we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but I will make sure to follow up via email with everybody, make sure you get answers. One question came in going back to when we were going through submittals or really anything inside of doc control or field management. Really, can you upload large files and send them to customers through the submittal module?
Yes, you can. You can. There's no limitation of how large the files can be, but files can be attached to record, and then they can also be, they can live in ProjectSight, or you can easily just attach them and send them over via report or via an email notification.
Okay, great. I know we're a little bit over on time. I'm sorry for those that have asked questions. There's a handful of you. We will make sure to follow up, and the recording will be sent out to you as well. Thanks everybody for attending today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.